So, the best classroom management strategy based on neuroscience, based on behavioral psychology, without a shadow of a doubt, is
Teach based on science.
hey everyone, Matt Thomas here. Thanks for watching. So, the one topic that I'm constantly asked about is classroom management strategies. I'm asked, hey, can you give me some classroom management strategies? Or teachers will say, hey, I need to work on my classroom management. So, I'm going to give you the most effective classroom management strategy beyond a shadow of a doubt. Neuroscientists, psychologists will all agree that if you do this one strategy, your classroom management will be so much better. So here it is. The most effective classroom management strategy is to establish great relationships with your students. Create that community, that classroom community. Now, before you go, Matt, I knew this. Let me share a couple thoughts with you before we get into this. So, first of all, education talks about this a lot and talks about the importance. And it's one of those things that people go, yeah, everybody knows that. But education never shares how to do it effectively. It's almost glossed over. It's almost treated as like a blanket statement that everybody knows, like should know how to do. It's treated that way. And so you'll hear it in workshops and seminars like, hey, we know you got to create that classroom community, create that great relationship with students. Classroom management will take care of itself. But no one talks about how to do it step by step. That's what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to give you step by step specific things that you can do on Monday, because that's what teachers need. We don't need theory. We need about what we can do on Monday. And I will tell you, everything that I share here is authentic and I've used consistently for many, many years. It's all supported by behavioral psychologists. It's all supported by how the brain learns. And if you've seen many of my previous videos, when I talk about creating that effective classroom environment, you've seen the research behind it. You've seen the science behind how the brain learns. You've seen the science about how people will model other people's behavior. So I don't want to reiterate that because those are in my other videos. And when I share these strategies with you, some you may go, Matt, that sounds amazing, but I don't think that fits my particular personality right now. I will say, no problem. Begin with what fits best for you, right? Try the ones that you think you can do effectively right away, and then come back to some other ones. Now, let me go right into it, and then I'll talk about a few other things as we end this video. So on the screen, you will see there are quite a few specific step-by-step strategies that you can use to create great relationships with students. And again, all of these are authentic. All of these are ones that I use quite frequently throughout the year. So I'm going to go with the first one here. Talk about their individual interests. So this I think is huge starting from day one. So I'm a big heavy metal listener. So when students come in on the first day, I'll joke and I'll give my expectations for the class, and then I'll say, let me ask you guys. I'll tell them I'm a big music person. Where's my heavy metal and punk music fans? And I'll raise my hand, and you'll always get 3 that raise their hand. And I'll say like, all right, guys, heavy metal and punk listeners, they always get extra credit throughout the year. And people go, wait, seriously? I'm like, no, I can't legally do that. But it's great that you love heavy metal, punk, et cetera, et cetera. So I've made a connection with those 3 students. And right now, right then and there, I've become their favorite teacher because I'm talking about something that's a very specific interest and something that they oftentimes don't get talked about, right? Heavy metal and punk music, right? Sometimes we get forgotten. And so right away, I've made a connection with those 3 students. Now you may go, Matt, that's 3 of them. You've got like 200 of them. You're right. But I think of this like general phrase. If you can connect with 3 students at a time, right, within the first month or so, you've got it. Those 3 students will start adding up. So try to talk about the student's individual interests. If you know a student's a boxing fan, try to talk boxing. If you see them wearing a baseball shirt, like, dude, you play baseball? And try to get them talking, right? Show that you care about their individual interests. The next thing, and I'm just going to across the list here, praise, praise, praise. I'm a big believer in praising. I should say, when I go over these strategies, these are in no particular order. This is really the order that I just like typed them up, right? So don't think that one is more important than the other. They are all very important. So praise, praise, praise. When someone says a great answer, praise them for it. Like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. If you have a student that says something that you haven't heard before, like, guys, I got to tell you, I've been teaching 17 years. I've never heard a student say that. Let's give that student a round of applause. Like praise everything. A person picks up something that was on the floor. Like, Joey, hey, dude, thanks for picking that up. And you didn't even drop it and you picked it up. Thank you so much. When you thank someone for what they're doing, It's reminding them that that's positive behavior, and they're more apt to continue it. Oftentimes, if you don't praise or acknowledge a behavior that someone does, a positive behavior, they don't know if they should continue it or not. So constantly praise. I'm a big believer in praising. Next one, stand at the door or talk in class, question mark. So I'm not a stand at the door guy. It doesn't fit my personality. I'm the teacher that when students come in, I start asking them about their day. Hey, Joey, what's up, dude? You having a good day? All right. And I make it authentic. I speak to them the way I would normally speak. Or, if they're wearing a band shirt, I'll be like, dude, Green Day fan. Oh, that's amazing. We'll just try to spark a conversation. If someone's having a bad day, I'll walk up and be like, dude, are you okay? Like, you look like you're tired. And I acknowledge when they're like, yeah, I'm having a rough day. I go, dude, I'm so sorry. Well, I'll understand if you're, not working as hard as you normally do. Like, oh man, I'm sorry you're having that bad day. Empathize with them. Empathy will create, how do I say it? Empathy is a great way of creating that comfortable environment, that great relationship with a student. Be empathetic towards them. So if you're a stand at the door person, I love, like, if you're a teacher that fist bumps every student that comes in, be that teacher, right? Don't necessarily force yourself to do something that you don't comfortably or naturally do, but do try, right? If you're stand at the door guy, be a stand at the door guy. If you're like me and you like to hang out and just talk to students as they come in, be that person. Next one, laugh at their jokes. Okay, so, or use it as a teachable moment. What I mean by that is, sometimes in class where, you're going to be with your students for 186 days, right? There will be times when they're going to be, comfortable to, like, you're lecturing and someone says a joke out. It's okay to laugh at that joke as long as it's not, disrespectful or trying to hurt someone. I think you know what I mean. Like someone makes a joke out, says a joke. It's okay to laugh with the students, like show them you're human. Or you could use it as a teachable moment, like, oh, hey guys, that I know you meant it as a joke, but it didn't come out as funny. But you could do that. What you don't necessarily want to do is bark at them, right? Is kind of like rap, stop, rap, because now you're not, creating that comfortable environment there. Unless, of course, it deserves, like, wait, Joey, we got to stop right now. But that's different. But definitely, if a student says a joke, it's okay to laugh, as long as it's not disrespectful and so on. Next one, bring your home personality into the class. So I'm a heavy metal guy. So my students know that about me. Whatever, if you've done, like, if you're a Star Wars person at home, be a Star Wars person at school. There's nothing wrong with that. The students like to see our home personality, right? They like to see us as humans. They like to see us as people. It's okay to talk to your students, and share with them things that you enjoy outside of school, of course. Next one, if a student has their head down, find out why. So sometimes we're so quick. Okay, let me back up. If, as teachers, if we see a student's head down, right away it might be like, oh, they're not paying attention, because kind of that's what's taught onto us when we went through our credential program, through some observations, like, never have a student get their head, have to put their head down. Sometimes our students go through things. They have issues, right? They're having challenges that they don't know yet how to deal with, right? Their brain isn't developed to the point where they can analyze what they're going through and try to, realize the best way to cope with it. Understanding that if our student has their head down, it's okay to find out why. And you don't have to do it publicly. I would say don't do it publicly. Don't announce it in class. Joey, why is your head down? Walk over. Dude, are you okay? Ask them if they're okay. Put it that way. Phrase it that way. Dude, Joey, you all right? Yeah, I'm just tired. Oh, you didn't get much sleep? No. Okay. Hey, no worries. If you don't mind, maybe, trying to write some of this out, but I understand if your head's down. Or, I had a bad day. Maybe they don't want to tell you. You can just see it in their eyes. They're just having a rough day. So it's okay to be empathetic at times. Now, sometimes it's like, Joey, dude, you've had your head down for a while, for the past 7 days. So, like, time to put your head up. But there's this balance of, like, hey, maybe something, terrible happened in their life, and praise them for being here. Like, gosh, I'm so sorry you're going through all that stuff and you're still showing up. Like, thank you so much for that. Be empathetic with them. Next one, put your students first and everyone else second. This really builds a huge community. When you tell your students, guys, I put you first. Like, I support you guys. When they know that you're essentially their leader in class, but you're an advocate for them, it makes them feel really good. Next one, tell them that you really enjoy having them in class. This is huge. Tell the class. It might be after the first 3 weeks of class, maybe the first month of school. Guys, I love having you. I'm so thankful that I'm here with you. I'm so thankful you guys come to me for English class. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate that. Tell them they enjoy hearing it. They really, really do. So I had a teacher come to me, and we were just talking about her new class, and she said, "I love my third period." And I love she had 2 periods, and she said first and third. So I love my first and third period. I love those classes. And I said, "Do you ever tell them that you love them, that you enjoy teaching them?" And she goes, "No, am I allowed to?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you should tell them that you appreciate them, because first of all, it's going to tell them that what they're doing is good and they should continue doing it. It's going to put a lot of the students in that relaxed mindset. And we know, if you see my previous videos about how the brain makes meaning, how it learns, how effective learning, it's action, prediction, reaction. Right? If the students know that you enjoy them as a teacher, they're going to come to your class more willing to learn, more relaxed. That's going to open up their learning ability. So please do tell them when you enjoy, teaching them. Next one, use their names when they walk into class. Now, of course, the first 3 weeks you're learning names, but it's good to be like, "Yo, Joey, what's up? Hey, Joey," use their name. That shows them that you know them as a person, right? Use their names when they come in. "Yo, what's up, Johnny?" Next one, thank them for being there when they are late. So this is a great strategy. Rather than the student knows that he or she's late. Rather than pointing it out, "Oh, late again," right? Thank them for being there. "Hey, Joey, thanks for being here." And praise them for that. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big thing, but when someone walks in late, "Hey, thanks, Joey, thanks for being here," or, "Hey, what's up, Joey?" Say hi to them, acknowledge them, even when they're coming in late, because there's a reason they're late, and we don't know the reason. And it may be that they were hanging out with a friend. It may be that they, had to walk someone who had injured themselves to a class. Maybe they were having a discussion with another teacher, but when they come in late, you don't want them to interrupt class to tell you their reason. So just thank them for being there. Like, "Hey, thanks, Joey, for coming in," but not in a sarcastic way. Like, "Hey, thanks for coming in." Don't do that. Or it might be a situation where you're just like, "Hey, what's up, Joey?" When they come in, just acknowledge them when they come in. Next, tone, tone, tone. Tone is everything. Make sure that when you're teaching, right? Teach in a positive tone. They're going to remember you as being a positive person if you change your tone or adjust your tone. There's definitely a difference. You could say the same exact words, but how you say it, how you phrase it, could definitely have a much more a more positive impact if it's kind of phrased positively. So tone is everything. Please keep that in mind too. Tell your students you appreciate them. I already said this before. I can't underestimate or can't that I can't. That is so important. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, that's so important. Make sure you tell your students you appreciate them. Like, "Dude, that was awesome. Great effort." And you can do it individually, like when you're passing papers back. "Oh, that story you wrote, that was amazing." So make sure you praise them individually and as a class, as a group, for sure. Try to stay away from superlatives. Try to stay away from ranking of classes. This is something I would highly suggest you don't do. "Oh, this is my favorite class." Don't do that. I would not do that. I make every class seem like they're your favorite class, but don't tell them they're your favorite class. Act like they are, but you don't. Students talk to each other, and you don't want to be like, "You're my first period is my favorite," because all of a sudden your second through sixth or second through seventh period is not going to be very happy. So treat every class like they're your favorite. Don't necessarily tell anyone that you're your favorite. Just treat them all well. Treat them all really well. Okay. Next one, ask them if they need more time and respect what they say. So I think this is huge. As a teacher, we have our schedule that we want to stick to. Sometimes our students aren't on the same schedule that we are. So if I have a lesson or a unit that's going to last 3 days, on day 3, at the beginning of day 3, I'll probably say like, "Hey guys, we've been doing this assignment for a couple days, this project. The goal was to finish it today. How many of you think you're going to need another day to finish it?" If majority of the hands go up, give them another day, because you don't want them to rush their project and turn in something that they don't feel, that isn't that good. And you also don't want them to feel stressed. I'm a big believer in no stress. I do not want my students to feel stressed. We're on a learning journey together. I do not want them to stress over it while we're doing it. So it's not wrong to say, "Hey, my goal was to finish it today, but you guys need another day." All right, we'll do that, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. The students will actually they will respect you for that quite a lot. So definitely do that. Next, ask about their other classes. Nothing wrong to say, dude, how's your other classes going? Just start a little conversation with them. It makes it seem like you do really care about them. How's your other classes? And be sympathetic when they're having issues like, oh, I'm having such an issue in this class. Be like, oh my gosh, no problem. Is there anything I can do? Right? Show them that you're there for them. Next one. So I put in the quotes here, you're the best. So I will use this phrase at times, like, you're like, oh my gosh, Joey, you're like the best at that. That's so good. Like, I will prop students up, especially if they're the students that, how do I say this, aren't always we're okay. Let me go back to the heavy metal listeners, right? My first thing, I talk about their individual interests, right? Oftentimes, there's some students that aren't always, I don't want to say represented in class, but they don't always get highlighted. And it's great to highlight those students. So when I say you're the best, it's more like a metaphor. It's more, you want to highlight students, even if they don't get highlighted that much, to individually, like, dude, you're the best. This is so good. Like, you're awesome. Use those type of phrases individually with students. There's nothing wrong with that. Make them feel good about themselves. Next one, defend them. Meaning, this is what I mean by that. So if you're ever been in a parent-teacher conference, or where you're like, you know what, it's a parent teacher conference and there's 6 teachers and they're pretty much going to go down the row and tell the parent all these bad things that the student's doing. Look at think of the good things that this student does do and highlight those to the parent, especially like, hey, Joey's really good at this and I really appreciate having him in class. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually very, very appreciated. The parents and the students appreciate that. So yeah, get on our student side. Remember, you're with your students 186 days a year. You're going to see them sometimes more than their parents do. Try to be an advocate for them. So next one, firm but fair. So as a teacher, I'm a big believer in this. I'm very firm with what I'm teaching. I'm very much, I control the class, that kind of thing, but I'm very fair. So it's not like one of those where I'm like, I'm firm but fair, but I'm not really. You want to have that to where, like, if you do something and your students, the majority are like, Mr. Thomas, look, we need more time. We need this. I don't think you presented this very well. Listen to them and go, hey guys, I'm so sorry. Let me do that again. Right. So I know my expectations. I'm going to take my students where I want them to be. But I'm very fair about it. Or I shouldn't say, but I'm very, I should say, and I'm very fair about it, to where if they need more assistance or more help with something, I'm there to give it to them. It's definitely a balancing act, right? There's times where, no, it's a hard and fast due date. It's due Thursday. And they're like, we need one more day. And you're like, all right, I'll give you till Friday, right? Firm but fair. Next one, don't lump them in or say, okay, so I put don't lump them in or say teens these days. What I mean is, try to stay away from generalizing all teenagers, right? Like, teenagers these days are all this or that, because that's what teachers said about us when we were younger. So we don't want to forget what it's like to be a teenager, but try not to lump them in as collective teenagers. Try to focus on them individually and try and stay away from the teens these days, because people will act how they're expected to act. If you've seen my videos on creating an effective classroom environment, you know that people will model the behavior of the people around them. And so if you're all teenagers are this or all teenagers are that, or even if you tell your class, well, this is my quiet class, I need you to talk more, your students are not going to be talking more if you tell them they're the quiet class. So trying to lump everybody in together. Try and say we a lot in class. Reinforce that community. Like, hey guys, we're going to do this. Let's do this together. We're going to write this amazing essay. Let me show you how to do it. We're going to be successful at this. Use we. It reinforces that community, that sense of community. Tell them you want to do the right thing by them. So sometimes, and this kind of combines back to like firm but fair, or if they need more time, give it to them. So I'll do this sometimes. Like if we have this big project, I'll say, guys, again, I was intending to finish this Thursday, but I want to do right by you guys. Do you need another day? Sometimes they need another 2 days. And you know what? I give it to them because they need another 2 days. Now, of course, we're teachers. We know, like, some students may be like, oh, I need 3 more days because I haven't been doing anything. That's different. But again, firm but fair. A lot of these you can see how they do combine with each other. But a lot of it's how you phrase things, right? Hey guys, I want to make sure I do the right thing by you. They hear that and they go, wow, that teacher's actually pretty cool. Okay, few more. Okay, I'm gonna do a video on this. My next video is about allowing them to turn in late work and why that's so important. And I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna explain why that is. You'll come up, watch for the video. I guess is what I'm trying to say. But I will highly suggest this: allow them to turn in late work without giving them a lecture. They know they're late. Now you can definitely say like, "Hey, I appreciate you turning it in. I wish you would have done it when it was due, but no worries. I appreciate you turning it in." That's different than, you should turn it in and let me tell you why and blah blah blah. That's different, right? Because the fact that they're giving you work in the first place, like, okay, my job as a high school teacher, my job is to take these teenagers and make them great adults. I can't be mad when they're not there yet. And so the fact that I wish a student turned in their work on time. The fact that they're giving it to me now, even if it's late, shows that they're starting to get it. And I'm good with that, right? It's a process of learning. So allow them to turn in late work without giving a lecture. Definitely remind them it would be wonderful if they could turn it on time. But remember, tone, tone, tone. Say it with a smile, have a little laugh, joke with it, because they're going to be like, oh, I know, I know. And then hopefully next time they'll start, remembering that they should turn their work on time. But don't give them a lecture every time, because then they're just going to stop turning work in because no one wants to get lectured. So be sympathetic if they have an issue. I've already talked about that, so I won't spend too much more time on it. If something's going on in their life, be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. What can I do to help you? Right? Don't hold it against them. You still need to turn this on time. Like, maybe do allow them for a little extra time for their work. Next one, try not to be too judgmental. Please keep in mind, these are our teenagers or their kids, depending on what level you teach, that are going through life. Something that are going through as well as adults. We've gone through their stage. They haven't yet. So please try not to be too judgmental on them. Too much of the blame game that teenagers this and this and that. Our goal is to try to help them, learn and grow. And we're here to kind of facilitate that. So please try not to be too judgmental. Be willing to adapt. I've talked about that as well already. So I'll move on with that. So be willing to adapt to what this teenager's needs. Be willing to apologize. So as to create that environment of trust, as a teacher, I'll mess up at times, and it's not only nothing wrong with me saying, "Hey guys, I messed up. I'm so sorry." It's very much accepted, appreciated, and the students love it. If you go, "Oh my gosh, I totally messed up. I'm so sorry, guys. I told you it was due Wednesday. I thought it was due Tuesday, so I put it all in late. I'm so sorry. Let me change that." Be willing to apologize, because people will model the people that they're around. If your students know that you are willing to apologize when you make a mistake or acknowledge that mistake, they are more willing to acknowledge mistakes with you. And now you have to make sure you have a safe environment for them to do that. Don't give them a lecture every time that they acknowledge a mistake. They're acknowledging the mistake. That's what you want. And hopefully they're going to fix it. So you should also be willing to apologize. And that includes if you get on a student too much. I've told this story many times to people in workshops or on a video when my second year teaching, I really got on a student for talking too much. And then I went, wait, in my mind, I told myself, you were too hard on this guy. I need to apologize. So I stopped class and apologized, because he's a great guy. And I don't know what I was thinking. He was talking when he shouldn't, but I got him way too hard. So I apologized. And then the students were like, wow, Mr. Thomas messed up, but he apologized. We're forgiving him. He's going to forgive us when we acknowledge our mistakes. So last few here, there's only one of us and 200 of our students. So please be patient with yourself. Be patient with them. We have to navigate 200 different personalities. It creates a much better environment if we are willing to kind of work with those 200 personalities. Again, firm but fair. But try, be patient with yourself while we're learning and navigating this journey of teaching and, trying to help these students on their journey of life. Thank great behavior and also great struggle. What I mean by that is, when students are doing really well, thank them for that. Dude, you guys are doing great. Or I thank you so much for all the hard work that you're doing on this test. That was a big thing for me. Well, there were many reasons why my students were very successful on tests. One of the reasons was I would acknowledge and thank them for it. Guys, thank you so much for working. I would stop, if we're doing a district test, I would stop it during the test and be like, guys, I have to stop. I'm so sorry. I just want to thank you guys for working so hard. I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm so sorry. But I just want to acknowledge you guys are doing so great. Thank you so much for working hard for me. And they will work hard for you, right? Because if they know that you are supporting them, they will support you. And then also thank them for great struggle. guys, I know this test is challenging. I want to acknowledge that, and I want to thank you all so much for doing all this great things that you're doing. Thank them for great behavior and thank them for the struggle. Thank students for being there. If you have a student who does not always show up, but they're there because we don't know the struggles in their life. Like Joey, hey, thanks for being here today. I really appreciate it. Praise them, thank them for being there. Again, tone. Thanks for showing up today. Totally different tone than, hey, Joey, thanks for being here. Like, I really appreciate it. It's good seeing you this week. I know it's challenging for you to get here sometimes. I really do appreciate you being here. Right? Thank them, right? Tone, tone, tone. Address great work and both individually and the group. I've already talked about this a little bit before, but if the class collectively, if you have students that are responding back and it's great responses, be like, man, you guys are amazing. You guys are so wonderful. I really appreciate this class and how hard you guys work. Address their great work as a whole, and then individually, like, hey, Joey, dude, that write-up you did was amazing, or great response. Like, tell them individually and try to acknowledge everyone. Again, it won't happen the first week because you have 200 students. But at some point, right, make that individual connection by acknowledging something that they've done that's really well. Look out for that too. Last couple here. I'm a big believer, walk around your classroom. Yes, you'll be tired at the end of the day. Monitor. So it's you try and stay away from here's the assignment, let me sit at my desk or let me stand at the front of the class and stare at you all. Try to walk around and monitor, because if you've seen in my other videos when I talk about observer reflectors and speaker responders, there are the students who will not ask a question unless you're standing very close to them, because they don't want other people to know that they have a question. So monitor, go up and down the rows, pause for a few minutes in one spot and maybe just start walking and through and seeing how everyone's doing. It's a very non-invasive way to monitor. It allows students who do have a question, as soon as you walk by them, they're like, hey, Mr. Thomas, can I ask you? And you're like, yeah, sure. And thankfully, yeah, dude, thanks. Yeah, of course. So walk around your classroom, monitor, and yeah, finally help guide them on this journey. I've talked about this a few times already. So I've used this phrase. It is a journey. We know our job. We signed up for this. We know what it's about, right? We're teachers. We know that we are trying to make our students better in life, try to prepare them. That's what we're doing. We can't be mad when they're not there yet, right? Because I'm part of a team. As a 9th grade English teacher, I get them when they're 14. My job is to do everything I can to support them, to prepare them, so that when they go on to their 10th grade teachers, right? I've done my job in a positive way. I've done everything I can. It's time for me to hand them off to the 10th grade teachers. And then the 10th grade teacher will do the same thing and hand off to the 11th grade teacher, right? So maybe the students don't get it from me. I support them as much as I can. Maybe they don't get it from me, but maybe they get it from the 10th grade teacher, maybe the 11th grade teacher. So my job is to help guide them on this journey to give as much knowledge as I can. And the best way to allow the students to be open to all that is to create this effective environment where they're comfortable, where they're willing to learn, when they're ready to learn. So there it is. There is the most effective classroom strategy. Classroom management strategy is creating a great environment with your class, creating a great relationship with your students. And I always go back to this. If you haven't seen the video on how the brain really does make meaning, please watch that. It'll really explain this in complete explanation of this. Action, prediction, reaction. If your students know that you're a supportive teacher, and you create this environment that will allow them to thrive, they will predict that they're going to have a great experience in your class, and they will react that way as such. Their brain will say, hey, it's second period right now, but third period is Mrs. Johnson's class. You love Mrs. Johnson's class. You gotta relax and enjoy, be more willing to learn, and that happens on a daily basis. So the better relationships you can have with your students, you build that great classroom community. Your students will they will act the way that they are treated in your class, and it will be that on a daily basis, right? So and please keep in mind too, if you're like, okay, this is great, but it's towards the end of the year when I'm filming this, I've got 8 more weeks left in school, I guess I'll start this next year. No, Every interaction that we have with our students is an opportunity to enhance a previous prediction that their brain has made about you as a teacher, or confirm a previous prediction. So if they know that you're an amazing teacher, every interaction you have a chance to confirm that prediction. If you've been a challenging teacher to your students, every time you're with them, you have a chance to change that, right? To change that prediction of their brain, and create this amazing environment, and have a great community with their class. Thanks for watching.